Good afternoon, everybody. Let me quickly brief you on capabilities of our laboratory that belongs to Energy and Geoscience Institute. It's located in Bratislava. We are renting this entire floor from Slovak Academy of Sciences, and we focus on structural geology, sedimentology, and geochemistry. Here we are looking at a snapshot of a student laboratory where we keep multiple workstations, petrol workstations for any visitors. So we are fully suited for one-to-one cooperation with the oil companies. And this is the conference venue owned by Slovak Academy of Sciences, where we can at discounted rate, because we are considered their ally, run training courses. Everything you need to know about us could be retrieved at this website of my institute. Number of people in a group oscillates between 15 and 20 depending on amount of students. We have 4 senior researchers: structural geology, ArcGIS, geochemistry, sedimentology. The rest are students of different degrees, BS, MS, PhD. So let me start with training, what we can do. We do training for oil companies, a little bit for universities, also for obligations signed by oil companies with different countries. Our textbooks are published in number 1 publisher, Cambridge University Press. Let me show you example. Relatively recent book, 2016. It's devoted. It's an exploration manual on rifts and passive margins. And as you can recognize, some of you helped us with publishing costs. This is how books is divided. There are 3 blocks: structure, architecture, and depositional models, described in 8 chapters. All main controlling factors are there. Then all main controlling factors of thermal regimes, and then a block on petroleum systems, each chapter devoted to individual play concept element and its controlling factors. There is one more book already published, again exploration manual, this time for thrust belts. It was published in 2005 together with Steve and Rod. And at the moment I'm trying to finalize videos of individual courses based on every single chapter. I used to do them personally, visiting companies, visiting different countries where you had your obligations. Now I'm trying to turn it also to the internet class. Entire description you need to know is here on my personal website. All textbooks and also derived short courses. At the moment, together with Tony Dore from Statoil, Helen Dorn, ex-Ophir, and Andreas Henk from Academia, like me, we are in the middle of writing a third and last portion of trilogy. Another exploration manual, in this case on strike slip settings and transfer margins. Research. We have relatively powerful ArcGIS capabilities that would allow us to do robust digitizing, data storage. We do the database design. We published our own way, ArcGIS based way of play fairway construction. We do various kinds of screening projects. Here we are looking at 4 examples from one large project which we did. It took us 6 years on entire Black Sea, all countries, surrounding countries included. When we run large regional projects, we do them usually for consortia of oil companies, and we really try to be as rigorous as it gets. We went even into that point that we calculate our own gravity magnetic data from raw data to have everything digital instead of images, and being able to really process the data properly. Sometimes we even develop ArcGIS projects ahead of other projects. Sometimes we can secure a little bit of internal funding, and then we have them camera ready for you oil companies. Typical examples of really robust ArcGIS projects which are ready for immediate delivery are the one done on Carpathian Pannonian region and the one done on all orogenic belts surrounding Adriatic plate, Apennines, Dinarites, Helenites. Apart from consortia of oil companies funding our projects, we can obviously do one-to-one cooperations which are focused on more detail. Typical example of large regional project was already mentioned, Circum Black Sea project. It went through 6 years and 4 phases. They were devoted to databasing, tectonics, sedimentological model, and geochemistry focused on petroleum systems. And here there is a taste of what are the amounts of companies we usually attract for those consortia. We can handle integrated interpretation of structurally complex terrains. We can start with field work, working on fractures. We can use shear fractures, calculate stresses. We can do interactions of depositions or response of deposition to structural events. We can do seismic interpretation, usually in Petrel. We can do validation of cross-sections by balancing done in MOVE. After understanding tectonics and history of the region, we can then develop depositional models. Example comes here again from Circum Black Sea project. We are in onshore, offshore Bulgaria. We are looking at 6 snapshots of depositional model for periods of time. Sometimes, depending on budget constraints and also whether there is sufficient time to do so, we can check our interpretations by numerical modeling. It starts with simpler routines like forward balancing, but it could be as complicated as 2D, pseudo 3D or 3D final element models. Mechanical coupled with thermal. Here we can see distribution of plastic strain in a region of one particular thrust-related trap. Over here we are looking at thermal transient associated with unroofing of footwall, associated with large detachment fault. Here we can see distribution of principal stresses in the same setting. Over here we can see thermal expansion related uplift or thermal transient associated with passage of spreading centers along transform margins before they clear out into the ocean. Or we can take different types of thrust-related traps and calculate exact location and exact kinematics and sequence of development of different fractures. So blue shear, then hybrid, and tensile. Now example of one-to-one cooperation. This project was done for a single company. This is Eastern Cordillera of Colombia. This is entire Llanos Basin. This company was interested in us helping them to recognize when overall patterns of long-range lateral migrations in parallel systems of sealed reservoir horizons got breached by systems of normal faults associated with flexure along the pore bulge traveling in time. So we were mapping these very narrow zones and relatively small zones of flexural fault for very dense system of snapshots in time. We can also do plate reconstructions. We used to do them in the past using Scotisi software. Now we are happier with G-plates where we can edit poles of rotation to our liking. We can digitize in all our seismically interpreted boundaries, also using other geophysical data. We can digitize in all our depositional distributions we can put in our geochemical data. Let's say in this case, different types of kerogen, very fine interpretation of different types of environments. With this, I would like to thank you for your attention.